let's get some more insight into market activity today. Gary Booysen from Vunani Private Clients joins me in studio. Thanks for joining me today, Gary.
Thanks, Anne. Nice to be here.
A rebound in risk appetite, it seems, today. Of course, all these comments coming out of Europe in terms of how they look, how they're looking to help the banking system over there, really helping to buoy sentiment today.
No, again, it's we back on risk on again. I mean, how many times have we talked about risk on, risk off, risk on? The volatility is still there. I mean, there seems to be some hope coming out of the Eurozone now that there might be a coordinated response.
Yeah, they coordinated. I think that sense of working together finally, which has of course eluded the ECB, the European Union to this point.
No, for sure, and that's what we've got to see. We've got to see some sort of plan coming out of there today. Well, not necessarily today, but if we can see politicians working together, and we just need some indication. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys coming out and saying, it's always Bernanke coming out and saying, we stand ready. If the ECB comes out today, we stand ready. It's as long as we
saw how markets took well to Bernanke's comments on Tuesday.
As long as the markets, as long as investors know that there is a plan in place, then markets should rally. I mean, if you look at the fundamental valuations of the companies across the globe, we are ridiculously cheap at the moment, and it just I think investors have they always say investors have a short memory in the market, but I think people are still remember 2008 too clearly, and they're looking at it and the markets have sold off and they're thinking, how much further can this go now?
Yeah.
Looking at that. Good cheap valuations. If we can just get a plan out, we should rally hard.
Let's focus quickly in on the ECB decision today. Many saying that we could see Trichet now coming out with a more dovish stance, preparing the market for a rate cut sooner than expected. What are your thoughts?
I think today we're going to get obviously a flat decision is the overwhelming expectation. But he has hiked rates twice in the past, so he does probably have a little bit more room to move. That said, I think we'll see a shift. We're not going to see an actual cut today, I don't think.
When it comes to the local equity picture, obviously you're green across the board when we're looking at top 40 stocks. Ones that stand out though, Pick n Pay falling back after that trading update yesterday. Massmart also in the red today. Raynet also falling back slightly there. Anything to take out of these three stock movements?
I mean, they're negative, but only slightly. It's I mean, I think obviously you're looking at the cyclicals for the big moves today. That's why you're seeing the resources up 2%. Obviously they're going to gain quicker. The retailers, I mean, the consumer is still under pressure, so it could be there. Pick n Pay, it's been having trouble. It has sold off its Franklin's operation now. That should be going through, but still a couple of problems in the company.
When it comes to the banking sector, we've had Goldman's now coming out with re-rating of some of those banking stocks. They have downgraded Nedbank and Standard Bank and upgraded their price target for Absa, but still a sell rating on all three South African banks. Markets coming out quite a bearish sentiment today after Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan said, revised GDP forecasts going forward. How are you positioning yourself with regards to South African banks?
South African banks, I do still like them. I don't know how much weighting you're going to give to a specific portfolio. That'll depend. But our banks are still very, very strong. I mean, we don't have the problems that the banking sector in Europe has. And you've always got to take a report. Goldman Sachs very well respected, but you've got to take these reports with a pinch of salt as well.
Yeah. I mean the price target ranges were changed by R1 or so not significant changes there. Yeah. But when it comes to the four top banks, we have seen FirstRand outperforming the banking index. So what is your preference for investing between the top four? I
do actually prefer Nedbank. That's my own. It is a little bit more speculative, but
what's the investment case for Nedbank?
For Nedbank, I mean, Nedbank obviously they're really one of the last of the big four to partner with an overseas company. If Old Mutual does sell their stake in Nedbank, I mean, you're going to see a big re-rating on that stock. And I think if you're holding it in a long-term portfolio, to hold that, if something does come through, if there is some deal in the wind, you're going to see massive outperformance.
So that's really on a speculative position that you'd be holding the stock, but of course that has been in the markets for many years now in terms of Old Mutual getting rid of their stake.
No, for sure. But yeah, like I said, that's why I would hold it more in the long term. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for a short-term play on the banks, probably I would say Standard Bank is also quite undervalued at the moment. I mean, it was trading down at around 90. I think that the fair value on that it's up to 95 now. But
2.6%.
2.6%. Exactly.
Today.
This is what we're saying. Yeah. We're seeing a strong rally in financials today, and I think you can easily see Standard Bank back above 100.
News flow out today: ArcelorMittal has canned its deal with ICT, Course Imperial Crown Trading. That was an 800 million rand deal. This was perhaps being speculated in the market, given that BEE deal fell through. Is this a problem going forward? This, the loss of this stake in a company that is exposure to Sishen iron ore?
I mean, the whole mess around Sishen, the Sishen mining rights goes on. It's an incredibly complicated, complicated situation. From what I understand, ArcelorMittal was positioning itself to, in the worst case scenario, it would buy ICT if it couldn't win its court case and get there. At the moment, again, there's so many factors around that deal. Probably at the moment, I mean, I do like ArcelorMittal, but as a valuation, there's a lot of risk in that stock at the moment, and I'd probably be steering clear of it for now.
Very quickly, defenses versus cyclicals at this point in time. We see the rebound and risk taking at this point in time. Are you of the opinion that we're, bearish on the economy going forward, like Marcus and Pravin Gordhan, or do you buy into cyclicals based on the story in emerging markets and Chinese and Indian growth?
I do buy emerging markets, the emerging market story. Yeah, I think you have to on a long-term view. I mean, obviously Pravin Gordhan and John Marcus coming out with very, very sort of bearish statements on the economic outlook in South Africa. But that in itself, I mean, they're people in positions of power. They necessarily, you've also got to look. You almost have to read between the lines when they speak, because just their comments can move markets in themselves. I think emerging markets, it's still a good story. You've got it's the place where you are going to see growth in the future.